Welcome to the Soul Tribe Podcast. The Soul Tribe Podcast was created to help you navigate through the world of spirituality, wellness, and self-development in an easy, grounded, and relatable way. We break down everything from the Akashic Records, manifesting, spirituality, and so much more. We want to help expand your boundaries and bring the spiritual world to you in a fun and easy way. Get ready to be inspired with tips, tools, and easy to digest information. Let's do this.
Hey Soul Tribe, welcome back to another episode. Today I'm going to be doing an episode alone. So I've been called to talk about, I kept getting like this vibe and the word, like the issues in the word responsibility. I mean, it's probably been for the past 2 weeks. And I kind of went around it in circles. And I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about it. I don't know if it's a good thing to talk about. And I wasn't really sure if it was an episode that needed to be created for the podcast. But I kept coming back to it. They kept bringing me right back to responsibility. And I think a lot of what we're all going through, you can end up putting it under the box of responsibility. I'm going to try to explain that actually. So one thing that I've been really called to look into and kind of talk up against, I guess you'd say, is the whole process of how kids are learning at school. I just think sometimes how I feel like the first few years of school, kids should just be learning to be human and figuring out what they really are and learning their true essence, their true selves. And for me, at least, as an individual who's on this more spiritual information path, for me, that's learning that what is a soul, learning that I am an individual having a human experience and that I am part of this, this huge cosmic plan to experiment what it is like to live in a 3D reality and all the things that, that brings. Learning that, but I think the kids should be learning to center themselves. We should be teaching them meditation. We should be teaching them and giving them the tools that they can later on use in life so they can connect to themselves for real and be more emotionally balanced and be more mentally balanced. I mean, we could probably see way less crime and way less mental health issues in the world. But that's what I feel, that's what I believe. Doesn't mean that might be right for everybody, but I'm really passionate about that thought. I'm really passionate about that idea. And so then that means that the responsibility of that child learning those things it comes onto the parents, of course. But a lot of the parents are not prepared to teach this because most of them don't know this, or they're just trying to figure it out, or they're just starting to get into it because them themselves were not told by their own parents or told by their own educational system these things. And so we're kind of caught up in this cycle where like someone's got to break it. Someone's got to break it and introduce this new way of living to children. And I think that's what will allow for a new era to be created, for a more grounded, more spiritual era of humans. But that also means that everybody has to be on board. And then there's another whole thing to that, which is many people will probably leave this lifetime without ever figuring in or hearing about these things or being open to hearing about them because their soul's not there yet, or they just weren't able to get there in this lifetime. So it's difficult. It's like this huge divide between breaking down a system that might no longer serve us and then trying to get other people to be passionate about it and see it. So those are the things I look at. But then another thing I look at responsibility is like now we see like the whole health thing. Before we knew that we were all responsible for our own finances. That was something that, that's something definitely you learned. But now I think that we're starting to lose a little bit of grip of responsibility in the sense of maybe some of us forgot to stay healthy. Maybe some of us forgot to slow down and make sure we're eating instead of like grabbing a quick food because I'm running to work or I'm late or I have to do this long commute. I'm just going to eat a quick snack or a quick meal in the car while I'm driving. And a lot of us forgot to take the responsibility for our own health. So then I also ask, is this pandemic that we're living and is this health issue, worldwide health issue we're living, is it because so many of us had a lack of responsibility with our own health? So that's one aspect that I think about and I look at. And another thing I think about is learning to be responsible for yourself, but not trying to push it on others, because that's what we're seeing now as well. We're seeing a lot of, you need to do this because you need to help these people, or this helps this person here. And I think that it's great to think about other people, and I think that we need to do that always. Of course, that's why I'm in the spiritual world. I want to think about my well-being and those people that I'm speaking to or I'm reading for or whatever it is I'm doing, right? So I'm all for being responsible towards others, for others. But I think that we're also living in an era where there's too much responsibility being asked of external people towards some individual people, I guess you would say. I'm trying to put that in a way where like it's understood, because I don't know if it's, I don't know if everybody sees it that way. So I'm not sure if it's totally clear, but it's like, I can't also be the reason why this person is sick or not sick, right? That person also needs to take responsibility for their health. So and let's not even talk about the pandemic. Let's just say that I have the flu and I walked by someone on the street and that person eats unhealthy, doesn't work out, doesn't meditate, doesn't do anything spiritual, is always on the go, is stressed out. And if I surpass them in the street and they pick up that sickness from me, that flu that I have from me, was it my responsibility? Was it my responsibility to keep my distance from everyone and make sure that I have a perfect distance so I don't get that person sick? Because if that person would have been at an optimum state, maybe I would have passed by them and they would have been fine. I'm not talking about this because I'm against any measurements that are going on right now. I'm talking about this because this is things I've been thinking about. Like, I think that we're being pushed to the extreme to feel bad. That's why I'm talking about this. Like, I don't think that we should all be feeling bad because I need to do this, because I feel bad because of that or the other. If everyone's responsible for their own health, then we could find maybe a better way to function between all of us in a more harmonious way. That's how I feel. And that's like a big thing for me. So pushing things on others, pushing your own responsibility on others, and this is, I'm leaving now aside the sickness just as an example. Now it could be other things, and they could be like, maybe someone said something to you and it hurt your feelings, but they didn't mean it that way. My perception was that was really mean. They shouldn't have said that. And then I make them say sorry. Like, you need to say sorry. What you just said was really insensitive or mean. Is that me? Is that me having a perception that's not really what that person meant? Should they be taking responsibility for my sensitivity on that? These are all things like I keep thinking about all these scenarios. Like, so I think that as a collective, as a human collective, we've become we've created so many rules. You can't talk about this, and you can't say that, and you can't do that, and you can't do this. There's just so many rules that I feel like it gets to a point where it takes the humanness out of us. Because the whole idea is that our soul said, I'm going to go to earth, I'm going to have a human experience, and I'm going to live a human expression. But I'm going to live a unique human expression. And so for me, the real issue here, putting this kind of like all in a box, for me, the real issue here is we need to constantly do the same things, say the same things, say it the same way. All these things now have to be done, and that's taking the humanness and the uniqueness out of us. And so our souls aren't able to fully express themselves. You have to be careful with what you say. You have to be careful with what you do. You have to be careful where you go. And of course, again, I'm going to say it just in case because I don't want anybody to get too sensitive about anything I might be saying. I'm not trying to break laws. Like, I'm not trying to say, like, break this law or don't do this or break this rule or whatever. I'm trying to say, like, it's become so extreme that I feel like the next stage is all of us feeling like we're all the same and that we all go in the same box and that we all are the same person and we all need to live the exact same experience in the same way. Maybe all of those or maybe some of those, but I feel like we're going towards an era where we're already in it. I'm saying we're going toward, or actually I feel like we're already in that era where the human unique expression is being very limited. And that's really limiting to the soul. And that's where the push was coming from the Akashic Records for me to talk about this. And so we need to take responsibility for ourselves so that we can all go back into our individual uniqueness and realign with the expression that our soul decided to have here. Literally what we're here to do is to have a human expression. That's how the Akashic Records are giving it to me right now. We're here to have a human expression. That means that if I want to shout and say, I love this and I love that, I should be able to do that because that's my expression. And if I'm angry and I'm upset, I should be able to scream that I'm angry and upset and get out of my system. But yet we're taught that we're not supposed to scream, for example, right? And we're taught that we're supposed to, oh no, don't say anything negative. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all, right? There's so many little like phrases and rules, and it's like, where's that old rule where like, okay, fine, if that person doesn't really vibe with you, just leave, or go somewhere else, or go find a group of people that you do vibrate with, that say things and feel things the way you do. I think that should be more the essence that we should be living. We're like, okay, that's how you express yourself, and that's how you really feel, and that's who you really are, and that's what you really want to do. I don't like any of those things, but I bless you. Thank God for you and your unique expression, because without you, I would not know who I am as well. But now I can actually, the era that we're living now, I can actually go up to the person and say, no, what you just said was insensitive, and what your tone is bothering me, and you shouldn't be doing that. So, take responsibility for your actions and don't do that again. And by the way, yeah, say you're sorry because that really hurt my feelings. Well, then why is that me taking responsibility for my own feelings? That person just did that. I should take responsibility for my own feelings and go, you know what? Something that person just said or did triggered something inside of me. In the perspective of the Akashic Records, what should really be happening is I should be going, wow, Lucia, that thing that she just said or did, that really triggered me. Let me go over there on my own and take a moment and think about why it's possible that triggered me, because she's mirroring something that's bothering me. So I need to figure out what it is. I need to learn from that. And so there's no more responsibility for your own uniqueness. And there's no more responsibility, if you don't do that, there's no more responsibility for that self-progress that those conditions and situations give us. So I feel like this whole scenario not only stops us from living our real uniqueness and expressing our unique selves, it's also stopping us from learning and progressing, because now our triggers are somebody else's responsibility. Our triggers are no longer us going in and going, whoa, what's going on, Lou? Why does that really bother you? Let me figure that out. And that to me is really concerning, because once we're in this ball, we're going to keep rolling towards that alleyway, right? We're going to keep down that path. It's going to keep going down there. We need to literally actively change the direction. And it's okay to disagree. There's a lot of, and especially now, we have a huge divide. You can be brute about it and say, there are even people that don't believe COVID exists, and there are people that believe COVID do exist. That's one divide. There are people that believe in religion, and the people that don't even believe in religion. There are people that believe that spirituality is the way to be, and there's other people that believe that spirituality is a waste of time. And so we have to know that our soul is on this path, because that's what our soul is here to express, know, and feel and experience. And that other individual over there that's literally living the opposite belief system or the opposite situation as me is here to experience that and live and know that. And I shouldn't consider them wrong, and they shouldn't consider me wrong. We should just, like the saying, we should just agree to disagree. In this case, the spiritual world would say, we should just agree that we're living different human experiences, and we're living different human expressions, and our souls have decided on those. And maybe at some point we meet in the middle and we both have a similar expression, and then we switch spots. We decide, actually, I think you were right, and I think you were right, and let me go over there. But if that doesn't happen, that either means that the person's not here to do that, know that, feel that, live that, or that person is actually not ready. That could also be a thing. That person's just not ready to be there. And so I think now the Akashic records are bringing me to patience. And so this all ties in as well with patience. And they're saying that we've been living such a rapid life, that we've gotten used to having immediate responses, whether it be from our devices, whether it be from somebody next to us where we ask a question and we expect them to respond right away, or it could be a boss expecting an employee to get the job done ASAP. So we're so accustomed to living a rapid life and getting rapid responses and rapid solutions. And so the Akashic records are saying that's become such a thing on Earth that now we've lost the capability of having true patience for whatever time that process needs, or whatever. Maybe it's our soul that needs a more extended process, and it shouldn't immediately happen for the soul. But we're not fully capable now of having the patience to wait things out, and we're expecting things to be quicker. And they're saying to me, this is also the reason why a lot of us are having experiences of more limitations for longer extended times, because our soul says, well, let me continue to slow you down so you can continue to learn patience. I mean, if we have learned something in the last, year and a half, we've been locked down for a year and a half, most of us, wherever you are, depending on where you are, I think that we all expected a rapid response from the situation. We're like, oh, everything's going to open up at some point, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be just 3 months. It's going to be 1 month. And I think that we've gotten to the point where we all kind of learned to wait it out a little bit more. So this is a huge lesson for the sickness that was our era of impatience. So everything comes into play for a reason. Everything brings in good things and good lessons, and everything brings in bad things, because we're living in a duality. And we signed up for that. We signed up for duality. Without that duality, I can't feel what's good and I can't feel what's right because I have to experience what's wrong and I have to experience what's bad for those two things to be known by me. So our soul signed up for that duality. And that goes back to that belief system of divide, where I have this person over here that believes this, and this person over there believes a whole total different thing. That's on purpose as well. If we all believed the same thing, if we all felt the same calling, there would not be a contrast. That duality would not exist, and we would not be able to see and feel our uniqueness. And that brings me all the way back to what I'm saying, bring it back because they're bringing me back. They're showing me that. And that brings me all the way back to what they were talking about more in the beginning, which is we're losing our ability to express our uniqueness, to have our unique expression as a soul, as a being. We need to accept the differences. We need to accept the divides, the difference of opinion, the difference of belief systems. And we need to allow that person to express themselves the way they see fit and best now. And the masters and guides say, if it doesn't suit us, then we just retire ourselves from that situation. We relieve ourselves from whatever position that's requiring us to be standing next to that person or near that person. And okay, this is a really good, this is what they're giving me now. This is a really good, I like this, what they're bringing in now, because I think a lot of people are going to be able to feel better with this example and vision they're giving me. A lot of us might have brought in the newfound belief system of spirituality, or maybe we just found it. Maybe we're just getting into it, or maybe it happened a few years ago for you, but you might have lost friendships or family members because they didn't understand you, or they thought you were wacky, or you were cuckoo, or you were woo-woo, or, whatever, all those words that, they try to pinpoint into the box of spirituality when someone's not ready to understand it. You might have lost friendships. You might have lost family members because you came into this path. And that's okay. That means that you're able to now go down this road of your own unique expression, and they can continue down their road of their unique expression that is no longer vibrating or similar to yours. And here we have that duality. And I should thank them for them not being prepared to be on my side and showing me what it's like to not have that in your life, because now I know what it's like to have it, because I see them without it. And I can be more thankful for what I have if it's really something that I vibrate with and I feel. So not only are we supposed to accept that total polar opposite individual or belief system, not only do I have to accept that, I have to bless it. I have to thank it. Thank you. Thank you for showing me this, because now I can see who I truly am and what my unique expression really is. It's funny because, this is all coming from the Akashic Records. As a person, I really like being in the middle. And so the way the Akashic Records are explaining to me, like, I myself have to kind of come into this path that they're now explaining to everybody. I like to be in the middle, where I like to look at all aspects and I go, okay, I'm over here. This is where I belong. So I do accept, for me at least, I do accept what other people believe. But when I really have a belief system that I'm like, oh my God, that's really not good for this person, or that's really not good for all these people over here. They shouldn't be doing that. Or, oh my God, and I want to speak up about it, because also I'm here as my unique expression as a person. And a big part of my contract is to speak my truth and to speak out about what I think is right, or what I'm seeing and I think that needs light, be given light. And so for me, it's really hard when I see someone do something which I think, oh my God, that's really going to be really bad for them. That's not going to help them. I'm fighting against that duality and having to accept their duality, or they're not there yet. And you know what? That's my issue. I'm trying to be too responsible for someone else's thing. I need to release that, and I need to let them be responsible. Okay, they made that decision, and maybe it's bad for them. Maybe it's not, but maybe it is bad for them, and I just need to stand over here. I already gave my opinion. I need to stand over here and just watch that. And if I don't want to watch it, well, then I just walk away, of course. But the best I can do is watch it from a distance and be there. If that person wants to come and talk to me, I'm not gonna reject them because their belief system is different or they don't see what I'm seeing. So I think that we should all really be, it's like conscious, like really have a now conscious aspect of responsibility and allow ourselves and everyone to have their unique expressions. I mean, you see like so many cards being played, like she was mean to me, she was attacking me, or I don't know, like I'm just thinking of words that people use when they feel hurt by something somebody said or did. And of course I'm not talking about the scenario where someone has the intention and like they really want to hurt you. Like, okay, that's an intention to hurt you. And that is a total different scenario. We're talking about here the scenario where that person just said something or did something without realizing it. They were just being them true selves, their unique expression. And somehow that collided with your reality and it created an emotional or mental reaction that you should be responsible for. And you should go over here and say, okay, that was a trigger for me. Why? Maybe that attacked my insecurity. Maybe that attacked, I already felt less about myself and that person made me feel even less. And now I feel like they should say sorry. And I'm not saying this because I haven't had a scenario like this. I mean, I can't even think off the top of my head I've had a scenario like this in a while. But it's things I've been getting and seeing. I've been like seeing it like externally from myself and going, wow, maybe that person should just let that person express themselves and just leave them alone. And it becomes like a back and forth fight, right? And so that for me is, we need to have that in the forefront of our minds. Responsibility, unique expression, that we're here to have that polarity. We need to accept it. And we need to thank it and we need to bless it. Like that's the best advice the Akashic Records can give on anyone that might be going through this scenario. And I just want to repeat this in case, anybody might need to hear it. It's, if you did lose somebody you really love, or you just distanced, maybe you just got, maybe you no longer talk to them or barely talk to them. Someone that you love, family, friend, whatever, because they cannot see or accept your new perspective. That's okay. Because guess what? Now you have a new vibration. Now you have a new frequency. And this vibration and frequency, that is your new way of feeling, being, it's going to come out of you. And the frequency comes out and it goes out into the universe. And guess what comes back? And most of us know this. It's like the law of manifestation, right? Like you give it out and it comes back to you. And so now I say, okay, I've just gone the spiritual path. I just lost my group of 5 friends over there who do not believe in anything that I'm doing. Like they are totally against this spiritual path I'm on, or they think I'm cuckoo. I just lost them. But that's okay. I'm going to love my new place. I'm going to love my new found knowledge, experience, and connection. And I'm going to allow myself to be there. And then that's going to zoom out of you. Boom, it's going to come out. It's going to come out. It's going to go out into the universe, into the proximity of where you live, where you are. Even it's going to cross borders. And then you're going to find that you'll get calls or emails, or you'll make a new connection, or a friend of a friend you'll meet somebody that you'll make those 5 friends will be able to be replaced in time with 5 friends that can now share that journey with you. That those other 5 friends, if you had forced them to stay next to you, or they had forced you to stay next to them, you might have not been able to learn from them in that because they didn't have that yet. Now, since you left a space in your life because they're not there, because they don't have that belief system anymore, you've created a space that now can be replaced with another energy that carries that same belief system, that carries that same frequency, and that now you can bounce ideas off. You can learn from them and they can learn from you. So don't be afraid to close doors, is what the masters are saying. Because if you don't close that door, you cannot allow a new door to be open. And that's like something we all know. We know that saying, like, one door's got to be closed for another to be open. And the best way to explain that is if I have energy next to me, it's taking a place. And now I can't fill that spot. That spot's being filled by that individual. Let's say this one friend. You have this one friend taking this spot. I can't fill her spot unless I retire her from that spot, put her somewhere else, allow her to go to her own spot, and now I have this amazing spot, this amazing place right next to me that could be filled with exactly what I want and need, exactly what I want to have next to me that allows me to share my true, unique expression. That's amazing. It's almost like, it almost, the way they showed it to me, it almost feels like complete divine intervention or complete magic. Like, let me take this out, and oh my God, I just got exactly what I wanted right here. Exactly what I needed. I have it right here, right? I hope that makes sense. And so remember, guys, don't be afraid to express your divine self, your true self, who you really are. Don't forget to allow yourself to share what you really feel. Allow yourself to share what you really think. And maybe it's a long road for those that start doing that, because other people are going to throw the responsibility on you that you might have said something that bothered them, or they didn't like, or they don't want to hear. You also need to love your uniqueness and love yourself. And if you're finding yourself in a scenario where you're taking responsibility for something that's not your responsibility, you do need to put your foot down and say, well, my self-worth is as important as my care for other people as well. And I need to care for myself. And so this is my limit. We had a whole episode about boundaries. That's it. That's your boundary. You can't pass that, because if you pass that, then you're not loving yourself, and you're not allowing yourself to go through your own scenarios and your own living situations and live through your own unique expression, because you should be able to express yourself. Intention. I want to end the episode with that. Just remember, we're talking about a place where your intention is that you love people, and your intention is that you mean well, and your intention is that you're just here to share yourself with the world. So I think that if we all carry on the forefront of our minds the word responsibility, unique expression, and intention, I think we should live in a more harmonious collective where we can all just allow ourselves to be who we are. I hope this episode helps those that are listening. I hope that it was clear, because I'm unsure how clear it is with the back and forth that I did a little bit there. Just a reminder that I'm doing this with my Akashic Records open, so I'm going through the things that they're giving me. A lot of these things for me are kind of like things that I also need to bring into my reality in my life. So I'm on that path as well. But it's been something that's been really nagging at my head. Responsibility. I'd be like, wow, we have a huge issue of responsibility on, planet Earth. Over responsibility, or not enough responsibility, or whichever, but for me, it's a sickness in itself. The level of lack of awareness of responsibility we have on Earth. And that's taking too much and taking not enough, both things as well. So, all right, well, I hope you guys like this episode, and let me know what you think. If it helped you, let me know if it's something that you've seen. I'm wondering if other people are feeling that. I'm wondering if other people have seen that or gone through something similar. Love you guys, and have a really good rest of your week. Thank you.